Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Unjaded podcast. Today the podcast is all going to be in English. I'm going to try to have subtitles down, the YouTube subtitles. You can click like the settings. Yeah, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Only 29% of the people who watch the podcast are subscribed, so this would really help if you actually do. And now my guest is my friend, and these are the best podcasts is when you just sit around with your friend. My friend who is actually Lebanese but now lives in LA, has been living in LA for a while. He is in the music scene, in the marketing scene. He knows literally every single influencer in the world, big or small, every artist. He's in every LA event. He's literally your plug in LA to go anywhere. And when I was in LA in February, that was the first time I met you, and it was really fun. NOUR KHODR, welcome to Unjaded.
Thank you.
How's your stay been in Lebanon?
It's good.
Just make sure you.
4 days in, and it feels like I've been here for 1 day. But
Do you miss it? How long has it been since you've come here?
Like a year.
Like a year. Has it changed? Oh, you were here last summer, right?
Yeah. The dollar changed.
The dollar changed. The dollar rate changed for sure.
What else changed?
If you guys don't know, $1 was worth like 1,500 Lebanese liras. Now $1 is around like 90 something now. 90,000 something. 90,000 liras. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is. Ooh, I never really got into like Lebanon nightlife, even though I lived here when I was between 9 and 15, and then
you were young.
Underage. So there was no nightlife. So now I'm like 23 and experiencing it, and it's just like interesting to see Lebanon in that light, because obviously Lebanon is a huge area for parties. So
it is huge nightlife, huge nightlife spot now.
So I'm experiencing it now, and it's cool to see.
Literally all the best DJs in the world, they're here. That's like they want to come because they see how hard the crowd goes. I think it's the biggest music scene in Lebanon. Like they sell out 10,000 people shows here. These DJs who don't even sing, it's like, and I don't know why, like how like the techno, this electronic music scene, it's like huge in Lebanon. I don't think, probably rappers would also sell out these shows, but I don't think a lot of rappers these big ones are coming here because it's like a long flight. But these DJs are like, because most of them are like traveling Europe, so and it's really close to Europe. Lebanon's really close. And whenever they have like a show in Qatar or in Turkey, they would like stop here. So and it's been great. The summer has been great. Everyone has come here from abroad, including you. So all the Lebanese people who live all around the world, they're here. And
they don't sleep.
They don't sleep till 7, 8 a.m. They go.
I feel like a grandpa because I go to sleep at 2 a.m.
Bro, LA parties, everything closes at
2 a.m. That's when it starts. If you show up,
that's really when it starts. Like if the party even gets like the DJ they warm up, and then at 2 they start putting their really good songs. It's like it's a different ballgame here. If they haven't partied in Lebanon yet, they haven't partied.
It's boot camp
anywhere.
Literally.
Exactly.
But it's dope.
So wait. Now, okay, you're in music, you're in marketing, you're doing all these things. But let's go back to like, no, you were born here, right?
No, I was born in Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay, and your parents lived there, worked there. What?
My dad's a doctor. He was a doctor there. He still is. But my parents are.
Oh really? I didn't know your dad was a doctor.
Yeah, he started in pediatrics.
What kind of doctor? Pediatrics.
Yeah, and then now he does ER. And he's a physician.
Okay, nice.
That was what I was gonna do for a long time. Ever since I was a kid, I was thinking orthopedic surgery was like my end goal. And then obviously like simultaneously, like when I was 3, I was doing music. My mom put me in piano and guitar, but I never really sang. I only played instruments. It wasn't until like high school when I like sang for the first time.
Were you here or were you in
I was there.
LA?
Yeah. No, I was in Florida.
Florida, okay. Okay, so you were born in Florida, and then when did you come back to Lebanon?
So I was born in Florida, visited Lebanon every summer, and then when I was 9, my parents divorced, so then I came with my mom to Lebanon. I lived in Beirut, and I lived near like Qura area.
Okay. In the north?
Yeah, in the north. Went to Shoifet and IS over there. Sabis,
Qura.
Yeah.
I have some friends there.
Yeah, I didn't last long there. It was a very like crazy school. But I did that, and then end of grade 8, 8th grade, I went back to Florida and lived with my dad, and I was there for high school. And it was like crazy. I didn't want to leave Lebanon. I was like so submersed.
So what class did you leave Lebanon?
8th grade.
8th grade, you left Sabas. Basically, you went to Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bounced between IS and Sabas.
Okay.
And then went back, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you went to Florida, and then how'd you get into music? How did that happen?
So when I went back to Florida, it was still med, like thinking medicine. But then like I was 15 in high school, I took guitar. My guitar teacher was like, you should sing. I started singing a little bit. I sang at my school talent show, but it was just kind of like, you know, just sing. Yeah. And then I was like my sophomore year of high school. I remember I really wanted to do like a show, but I had like no experience. I was still trying to figure it out. Well, I like submitted for The Voice, but never heard anything. So I was just kind of like, whatever. I was young, and so I just kept on doing my thing in high school. And you know, junior and senior year of high school, I was dual enrolling, doing bio because I still wanted to do med. And then when I was like 18, 19, like having just graduated, I got a DM from The Voice.
No way.
And then I went and I got a call back and I did the whole thing. And
are there clips of that on YouTube, you being on The Voice?
I can send you some.
Yeah, we'll put them right here.
Yeah. I have some things that didn't air on my phone, so we'll put them.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how's the Voice experience? You were very young. How old were you?
19, 18.
19. Yeah, how was that? Like a first, like something big happened.
Yeah, I watched like every YouTube video there was on every show, American Idol, The Voice, because obviously I wanted to mentally prepare myself. Yeah. And like getting the the red callback was like the ultimate like hallelujah, you know? So when I remember I got it, my body was like that. Was like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I still have, I'll give you a photo of it. I still have it in my house. But it was crazy. I went and did like some studio audition stuff with them, like went through their process. It was really dope.
And that was still in Florida, right?
No, at this point I was in New York.
Okay.
Because the part of the process that I was starting in was New York, because they do it all over the country.
The Voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you lived in Florida, and they DM'd you, when they DM'd you, you were still in Florida.
Yeah.
So you had to fly to New York for that.
Yeah.
Okay, then this happened. How did it end? How did it go? Like, what was the result of you being on The Voice?
They put me on their story, and like they tagged me, helped me gain a lot of following. I did like they had like a few competition things on Instagram too that I was a part of. And then like shortly after, I had like got reached out to by another show, and then the show was called Making the Band on MTV, and it was literally right before COVID, and then COVID hit and it got canceled, and I was so disappointed.
But did you shoot anything from that show?
I was in the callback process and stuff, but nothing came because it was Corona, and then I was like in the audition process. Like I pretty much auditioned for American Idol, The Voice, that show, and like whenever, and then I came to a point in my head where I was like, I just want to make music, original music, and not really depend on shows, you know, because the shows are great exposure. Like I gained followers from everything I did, and then I ended up writing like 6 songs about like my life from when I was born to when I was 18, my relationship life, my personal life. Because when you write, it's all about experience. And so I wrote like 7 songs. Well, one of them I ended up getting Sean Kingston on because I had reached out on email, cold email, to Sean Kingston, Tory Lanez, and Ayaz, the guy who sings Replay. And then Sean Kingston just so happened to respond the first.
So you were just sending these people emails, just like, I have the song.
Yeah, okay. I just know what's something. And I remember it was so funny.
But who pushed you to do that? Like,
I was just like me and myself. And this was before COVID hit, so I was like, I was still in college, because they were still doing classes. I was at FSU at this point, and I remember I would be in class, and it was when I went to New York for a week before this, made all the songs with my producer, his name's Robbie, then went back to Florida, and this was like the month before COVID happened, and Sean Kingston would text me and stuff, and I had my phone in class. So when we're in like a lecture hall, so you know, and it was, and so everyone would sit so close, so my phone lights up and it says like Sean Kingston, and I remember vividly the girl next to me looking at it and looking at me like, this guy's like, he's lying. It's not really, there's no way. And then the song released, and he was on it, and that same girl texted me and was like, "Oh shit!"
That's
Like
crazy.
it was
What's the song called?
Runaway.
Runaway.
And that was like the third song I released. And then I released, I believe, Ace, and Ace was the one that like really did it for me because that was like the TikTok.
That
and
was
then
really big.
Yeah,
Ace.
and that one was the one like I reached out to like the people at the Hype House and them, and they posted it, and then it became more and more big.
Okay, now like all these song releases happened, but you were still in Florida when you released the third song with Sean Kingston, and then what was between that and between that and you releasing Ace? When you released Ace, were you still in Florida, or did you
No,
move
still
to LA?
Florida. Still Florida. It didn't move to LA until like this was end of 2019.
Okay.
I didn't move to LA till October 2020.
Wow. Okay.
And on October and when I released Ace, which I think was February or March, maybe even April of 2020, the song did really well. I had a bunch of labels hitting me up like, we want to work. And I didn't want to sign with anybody, and they were like, okay, so if you don't want to sign, then at least like let's work together with marketing, because you knew how to do it for Ace. Let's do it with our music, like.
And what did you do for Ace exactly? Because you were doing the marketing for it, right? Like on your own.
Yeah.
So how did you learn these skills? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are watching are maybe they're artists, they're up and coming artists. They want to do that. So how? And you're other. We'll get into your businesses. You're a huge marketing guy. You're like a marketing guru, basically, and you work on a lot of huge applications that probably people know. The Send It app, and that's the biggest one. Send It app, the one where you can let people ask you anonymous questions. That's the application that is yours, basically. And you did the marketing for that with all the influencers. But the first time where you really got into marketing was through marketing Ace. That was the first time where you actually did some work. Yeah. What did you do, and how did you like learn these skills?
Yeah. So basically, with Ace, I saw like TikTok was starting to become big, and like content houses like Hype House and Sway and these houses, and so there was one song that just blew up called Roxanne. You know?
Roxanne.
And that one, like, it was all TikTok. And nobody knew, like, no one knew yet, like, oh, TikTok music equals hit. But that was, like, the first one.
That's really the best way to get a #1 now. TikTok virality, like the Gunna song right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, like,
how does it go? How does the song go? They're gonna know it.
Fuck you mean?
Yeah, but what's the famous part on TikTok?
The yeah.
Oh, they're gonna know what it means.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now everybody knows that TikTok is the way for music, but back then nobody really knew. Ooh, I did it for Ace, and it was still like a market that wasn't tapped into yet.
Exactly.
So it wasn't that hard for Ace to blow up because no one really was like still like, oh, TikTok is the key. You know?
Were you like paying influencers at this point to like promote it?
I was like, so what I did was I like basically my Instagram, because of the shows and the other things I was a part of, my Instagram was strong. And a lot of people's TikToks wasn't as good as their Instagrams. Like people would have millions on TikTok and like
3K on Instagram or 1K.
Exactly. So I did like an exchange where I was like, okay, if you help me promote Ace, I'll take the video you make for Ace and put it on my story and tag you. And that will get you some followers on Insta, and it'll grab me some people on TikTok in the song. So I did that with a bunch of up and coming people. Some of them I ended up like managing for a while because I became good friends with them, and I ended up like, because none of us knew that TikTok could make so much money and like all these different things. So I was discovering it as I went. I was 19. And so a lot of the people I was working with, some of them were older than me, some of them were younger than me. And so, yeah, they just promoted Ace, and Ace did really, really good. And then, like, I started getting, like, then I met my friend Hunter, who's the guy who made Send It. And then he was like, yo, let's...
He did the app, Send It. So he's a software guy, right?
He does that, too. He's a CEO. So he was able to, he discovered, like, my company because... He was like, because I was starting to like work with so many different social media people.
Okay, so you created like, because of Ace and you did all these connections with all these people, you built like a company around that. Yeah. And then Hunter reached out to this company basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then other companies too, and it started working. And then,
so you had this like network of all these people who are blowing up on social media.
Yeah, and everyone was new. Like nobody knew what could happen, and people were just living in their own homes. Some people living in different states.
Like who are some people that you worked with like at the time? Which influencers, for example?
Early on, like I did marketing for Coi Leray,
Mm-hmm.
for Kid Leroy, for Doja Cat, for some Salem Elise song,
Okay.
Young Gravy. And then I was working with like influencers early on, like one, her name is Anna, and then Ethan Wacker, he was on Disney. Who else? We worked with a lot because we had a content house. We were working with everybody, was working with each other. And yeah, I watched them go from like 1 million to like 15 million on TikTok, which was crazy. And a lot of them, like, whenever the business started doing really good, in the beginning of 2020, by October 2020, I ended up like making like a big move where I got like the people that were some of the people that I was working with, and we got a house in LA.
So basically, you did like a content house, basically.
Content house basically. And we just went out there, and because it was good to go to LA and obviously be there, because it was COVID. So either you were staying home in your state or you were staying home in LA. And in LA, at least you could like go around and meet people.
I remember like even like the Hollywood Fix videos, all that. It was crazy.
Saddle
like
Ranch.
all these Saddle Ranch now.
Yeah.
Now Saddle Ranch is like
Nothing.
no one goes
Yeah,
there.
you saw.
It was crazy. Like
Yeah.
it was all my feed. I don't know, like this influencer with this influencer at Saddle Ranch, and then there's nothing now. Like it's no one goes there.
No.
Yeah.
It was hot for a minute. Like I remember when I went, and like people were still getting started. Like I remember when Noah Beck first came to LA, and then he went to Saddle Ranch, and everyone would go to Saddle Ranch, and now everyone's just kind of, you know, it had its moment.
It has.
Now they have some karaoke nights there, but it's not what it used to be. So yeah, so I made a company, and then we did a house, and then this other like company that was doing a bunch of houses reached out, and they were like, we have 6 houses, come and join our house. So we joined their house, and we had like, so we did that for like 7 months. And yeah, we grew, but also being in a house, you know, there's drama and stuff. So people start to slowly hate each other and fight. And so like
they're teens and drama and the internet and
relationships. It's COVID, so everyone's stuck in a house.
Exactly.
So there's nothing really to do except butt heads eventually. And so until, you know, the content house's time came to an end, then, you know, I started focusing way more on the marketing. Because when the content houses existed, I was so focused on the people in them and helping them with their careers, which is
so you were growing these people.
Yeah.
And after that, after the content houses died, basically you started focusing on marketing in general.
Yeah.
Right?
So I went from focusing on the influencers to focusing on the brand. So like I started working more closely with Sended and other apps and other companies and some clothing lines. And then I did a deal with Puma, you know, I started working with them. So yeah, but I was in the house, and we had like multiple houses, and it was very interesting because LA was like, it was like speed dating for people, because people just all met each other so fast because there was nothing else to do.
And everyone moved to LA at that time.
Yeah, and like I feel like everyone who blows up on social media, they leave their state and they come to LA.
Exactly.
You know, and then they go back.
If they don't do well, most of them
they
go back.
Yeah, or when they achieve a certain point, they leave. Like Post Malone, he came and then he stayed in LA, did his thing. Now he lives in Utah.
Exactly,
He doesn't
doing his thing on his own.
Because sometimes you get sick of LA.
Exactly, too much, like the paparazzi, the events, like so many people, like they try to.
Yeah.
Stay, like if you need LA, if you need the people there, the connections, the producers, if you have things to do there, you're there. If you don't, you just just go away. It gets too much to so many people.
Yeah, and people just over there, you know, a lot of times people, it's not really like genuine friendships. Everybody's just kind of like, because there's somebody I know told me like a friend to all is a friend to none, because you can't be like friends with someone who hates someone and be friends with that person.
Right.
Because it's crazy, because it's like, how could you? Because it's like, those are two different people.
Exactly.
You can't be best friends with the girl who hates that girl and blah, blah, blah. So it's like...
It's more like connections. And
people are just kind of like, you know, sometimes people are just nice to each other. There are certain relationships that are genuine, but it's harder to find in a city where everyone has a goal, you know?
Exactly.
When you're like in a random city where there's no fame and no anything else, it's much easier to be like, okay, you're a real person. If you go to like a random city in Boston, you know, people don't care about status there.
You're going to get if people are talking to you, they actually like you.
Yeah, because they have no idea. Whereas in LA, people go there generally to like seek that.
Exactly. Like you'd never know if the person who's talking to you actually likes you or they're trying to get something out of you. It's like, you never know.
Yeah.
I feel like you like LA, right?
I like
it. For you, because all your work is with marketing, you need to be around these people all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you made some good relationships with people over the over the years. Obviously, like you pick and choose the good, the good ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically your journey. It took you from your own song to like marketing, then from marketing to building businesses around these connections that you made, and then you kept working on these apps. And the last song you released was Ace, and then you didn't release anything for a while, right?
I released Ace, and then I released a song called Photograph Lies, which was like an acoustic song that I had just had like with me. And like some of the influencers I was working with were like, why don't you release? Why don't you release? And honestly, like from when I was 18, I wrote those 7 songs and I just had a writer's block. Like I couldn't really write anything else because there wasn't really much for me to write about. I wasn't in a relationship with a girl or anything for me to write about that. I had no like certain crazy things. You know, Ace pretty much described my life, so it was like, khalas, you know, so that was it. Then after Photograph Lies, nothing. And then, like you said, it was like my song to marketing, to building businesses, working with businesses, then kind of now back to music, because in those 3 years of being in LA, like 2020, I moved there, I experienced a lot. You know, like I dealt with the drama, I dealt with like, I had some really cool relationships, I had some really like sad endings to relationships. But
like
then,
breakups.
Yeah, breakups, you know, I like, even early last year, like late last year, like I was like, you know, I was getting close with people and I had like falling outs with people, and then we made up and it was good. But all those things,
they made for good music.
Made for good music, yeah. So like, you know, I wrote, since January, I wrote like 10, 12 songs.
That's amazing.
First Place, the one I just released, is one of those songs.
I love First Place, guys. Listen to First Place.
Thank you.
And I listened to most of these songs in your car. And when you're in LA.
Yeah, like end of the day with the acoustic.
He made me listen to like a bunch, like 8 songs.
Yeah.
Really
even
good.
the songs that I just was testing, the ones that I showed you in NOUR. And so yeah, so now my plan with that is like, I have these songs. I released First Place literally, I think now
a month, right?
A month, literally almost maybe a month ago today. So, you know, next month or the following, hopefully release another, and, you know, keep on releasing and, you know, see where it goes.
That's amazing, man. I'll have the link to the video of First Place in the bio. Make sure you check it out. It's a movie. By the way, you have so many people in the music video.
Yeah.
Who did you have in the music video?
I had my friend Michael Cimino. He was in Love Victor in senior year on Netflix and on Hulu. And then I had Georgia Hasarati. She was on Too Hot to Handle and Perfect Match. I had Milo Manheim. He was in Cool Spirits with Peyton List and with a few other shows on Disney. And then Spencer List, who's Peyton's twin.
Peyton, if you guys don't know, Peyton is the girl from Jessie, the blonde girl.
Yeah.
They would be. I'd have her picture here. They'd be like, oh no way, that's a
girl. So her twin, and then I had Gabby Mora. She's a Brazilian social media person. And then Pammy Baby, her name is Pamela. She's actually Lebanese.
I was gonna say
met her.
When we met her in LA, she told me that I'm Lebanese. I was like, no, that's actually crazy.
Yeah, right.
Is she coming this year?
I don't know.
When I was there, she told me she might. I think she comes every summer. She told me.
Yeah, she did. I think recently she went to Dubai. But she's Lebanese, and her name is Pamela. So, but yeah, she was in the video, and then. So then who else? I'm trying to think. Eric, my friend, and Zario he's also on social media. And those people were in it. It was cool because they all obviously do different things, but they're all close friends of mine. Ooh, it was kind of spontaneous.
Exactly. It's like you're bringing all your friends. Yeah. It's like you told me actually it was like it didn't feel like work when you guys filmed the video.
Yeah.
Because it's like you and your friends, you and your boys, and you guys just with a camera.
Yeah, even if you see the BTS photos, like it was really like just fun, and then like, you know, cameras on, filming some, doing some performance shots and stuff.
Yeah, how was like the experience with like doing the song with like these big artists or working with these big names? How would you find like working with these people? And like, do you have like a specific memory that like is your favorite?
So with all these songs, I feel like all the teams are super cool. Like, you know, working with like, you know, Chaz, who's big on Tory Lanez' stuff, and working with like Finn and a bunch of other people that are all just like there and in the scene. They've worked on other big records. It was super awesome because obviously like my 7 songs that I recorded before, like Ace and those songs, were literally just me and my friend, me and Robbie. And he was actually on American Idol. He was a finalist when Jennifer Lopez was still a judge.
Okay.
So long time ago.
Long time ago.
But so it was really cool to now work with new people, and now like I have another song with Gingerbread, who he worked with twice. It's a K-pop group, and like so a bunch of different groups of people. Just because when it comes to music, it's good to like
Collaborate.
diversify and collaborate and just find your sound. For me, it was really like, okay, now I've experienced more life, or I've experienced heartbreak, and I've experienced things. So I literally like, I believe in therapy. I think it's great. Therapy doesn't work for me though. So I feel like my therapy is getting a paper or opening the notes on my phone and writing things. Writing.
Music is therapy.
Yeah, it's super. It's the best therapy. Because like I remember like January, I had a falling out with some friends, and I just was writing all about it because I was like, it's the best thing to do.
Exactly.
And then it turned into obviously like a bunch of songs, and first place was obviously inspired briefly by it. And yeah, I just wanted to find like a catchy way to make a song that was about, wishing you haven't met someone. But in the song, if you listen to the lyrics closely, it's like starts about me coping with it, and then wishing I'd never met them, and then being at the end like, so.
Exactly. Like, what do you think? Like, you've obviously done a lot throughout your career. What do you think was the hardest thing to overcome throughout these 3-4 years?
So, when I first moved to LA, I was like 19, 20. While I was working with like 40 to 50 different social media people, and I felt like immense pressure all the time because like I just didn't want to fuck it up, because like it was like I had my friend. He was doing all the camera work. His name was Goose. So he was just literally just me and him, and we were just like working with all these people, and a lot of them were like, they became really big now. Like there was like we had like Anna, Eva, and Katie, Rachel, a bunch of people, and they and everyone was growing, and everyone's careers were starting, and even my own career, like I still hadn't put in my mind to finish no more music. It was more like, let's see what I can do for their careers and help them and build something cool here in LA. And obviously the company was becoming my priority in like marketing, because it was just like I was having fun doing it. I was failing all my college classes. I was still in college, and I was failing all of them. So I remember I called the college, and I was like, yeah, I have to drop out. I can't do it. And I dropped out of college. And my dad was like, you're going to go back, right? And I was like, yeah, I'll go back.
I'll go back.
Yeah, so.
In a few years.
Yeah, in a few years. And it's been 3 years, I haven't gone back. But it's not off the table. Because right before I left, I switched from med to law, to pre-law, because I actually do enjoy law. Like that's actually interesting.
Especially in like the world you live in.
Yeah, like
a lot of legal stuff.
Yeah, so like entertainment law and stuff like that. And so like, the pressure of that, like I would just randomly like break down, and then obviously like like I said, I was in a house, and then people had drama in the house, and I hate drama, and like on social media, drama is hard because drama doesn't only exist in it; it gets put out in the world. Yeah, and it gets put out in the world, and no one cares what happened. People just want to believe the coolest story. Like if you make 2 stories right now and post them, and one's true and the truth is boring and the lie is entertaining, then everyone will want to just say like, oh my God, the lies. You know what I mean? This is cool, this is real. And so like, I was young, and I was like building a really big company. So like I had a lot, like the more popular even like a podcast gets or anything gets, the bigger the target on the back gets, right?
Exactly.
Like with any like social media star, any company, like the bigger you are, the more people prey on your downfall. Early on, 19, 20-year-old me was like, I had so many haters, it was crazy, but I had so many supporters, so it was great. And so like I had people like trying to break my business. There was like a week of just like drama, and then that week was like the hardest week for me, because I was young. I just turned 21.
What happened that week?
There was like the house that I was a part of was like falling apart, and like everyone was dragging each other's names. My name was dragged, and he's not a good guy, blah blah blah, like it was just like bullshit for a week, and the social media always picks it up like, oh my God, what? Like, so it just became one of those things. Since then, everything's cool. Everybody's like, oh yeah, like good, like, oh, it was just the internet being the internet. But like, and I read every comment, I read everything. So it's like like.
It's a lot for one person to handle.
Yeah, especially when it's like not true. Like when someone's saying like, oh, like, he never tried to help me, or he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's like one of those things where it's like, damn, you know?
Sometimes, like, even when like you're used to a certain amount of engagement, and then suddenly you get any kind of engagement, even if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like a lot for a person to handle. You feel
Yeah.
like you're overstimulated, and like our brains aren't made for us to like get this much information and think about that many people to think about you. Like if you think about our grandparents, like the generations before us, they like the average human would probably not meet more than 100, 200 people their whole lives.
Yeah.
No more than 200 people would know you throughout your entire 80 years or 100 years of existence. Now just one video can let like 10 million people see you.
Yeah, the craziest thing was, I remember, well, I'll bring it back to this other topic, but when I just turned 21, I don't really drink. I honestly, like, there was like, I think 2020, I didn't drink any alcohol, which is crazy. Just because I was so focused, I didn't want to like get distracted, and I barely partied, didn't even go on, I don't even think I went on any dates or anything. I was like so fixed.
Just focused.
Yeah, and so I remember there was a video of me, and we were like all obviously in a house, so it's like there's people that are 19, 18, 21, 20, who on my birthday they gave me champagne. Who I popped the bottle, and that video got put on the internet and made it seem like I was like everyone was getting drunk, and I was like yeah, everybody, let's get drunk. Made me look like a party animal, right? And I was supposed to be a business person, which everyone who knows like, oh no, this was his birthday, like he was popping a champagne,
exactly,
and it wasn't like he was, you know, getting like messed up. And so the internet took it and was like, oh, like he's supposed to be like a good business person. He's like getting drunk with a bunch of people, like what? And so that just made me look bad on the internet. And I was like, what? This video?
Just because of like this tiny clip of you having like enjoying yourself in your birthday party.
Nobody knew it was my birthday. Nobody knew how old I was turning. Nobody knew anything. But they just saw a video of me, and were like, oh, he's drinking, and there's people there that are under 21, like blah blah blah. And you know, it was crazy because I don't even support alcohol. Like my friends got me that champagne because it's just like, you know, it's like a thing you do. You pop a bottle on your 20. It was Corona too, COVID. So like, I couldn't go out. We were just trapped in the house. Yeah, but it was crazy. Like that, I would say, like just like dealing with online stuff was hard. And then like I remember like I would just be so isolated because it was just like hard. And then before that in high school also, like I feel like it's the inner Lebanese in me, but I was always such a social person. And I like threw like a bunch of huge events in high school. Like I would throw like legitimate events. Like you would feel like you were still like, you feel like you were here. Like I was throwing like really good parties with people.
That's definitely the Lebanese in you.
Yeah, because everyone over there was like, there wasn't anyone else doing it in my high school. And honestly, like in that area of Florida. And then I remember like I threw a bunch of parties, and then eventually like I started to, you know, the target on my back got bigger and bigger. And then like I had like people who I wasn't like very close with, who I wasn't inviting, or I wasn't like, yo, yeah, you know, who were like starting rumors. And then I remember like, because they weren't invited, like people would come and egg my house, like throw eggs at my house. And then one time they keyed my car. Well, it was like what? It was just because people, like you said, like we said, like jealousy is such a strong thing.
Just like you said, the bigger you get, the bigger the target becomes on
and it sucks, but that's how it is. Like people always say, like you haven't, like if you're gonna get famous, you're gonna get canceled at least once. And it's so funny because every single person I've seen in LA has at least had something to deal with, like controversy. Because when you get big, people find small things and they're like, oh, you know, and it's like
they point their finger.
Yeah, because there's nothing more entertaining. People just, you know, oh my gosh, this person cheated, this person did this, this person's racist, you know, like, and it's like sometimes it's true information and sometimes it's just the internet. You know, like there's a lot of celebrities who are like, if you look at the internet, 99% of it is not accurate, and 1%.
For sure.
The 1% is accurate is barely accurate.
Exactly.
So,
like I know that you're also like doing the music, you're doing the businesses. There's a lot that you're balancing. I know like with me, like I'm balancing like being in medicine and med school and like the podcast and social media. Like I know how it is, but like how do you balance between like the music, even though they're kind of like interconnected in some kind of way, but it's like how do you manage these different things that you're doing?
So with music, I have like a, so I basically kind of have it in a way where it's like, I have a friend in the music world who like will organize everything with me. And then, so like it helps with my scheduling. So it's like, okay, this is the time dedicated to making songs and working on the video and all the music stuff. And then when it comes to like Send It and other things and Quiver, which I was showing you, the Authenticator app.
It's
like,
a new app
yeah.
that just launched, right?
Yeah,
Quiver,
yeah. And it's
Congrats.
like online persona. Thanks. So it's like a really cool like thing. So I balance my time as in like I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna work on this, finish what I need to do, and make sure that all my duties and all of the things that need to be done to scale the companies are being done. And then obviously, you know, working out at the gym and taking time to breathe, you know, is super important for me. So during the week, it's like mornings generally, like morning I wake up, I work out. In the morning I work a lot on the Send It, afternoon some Quiver, and then night music. And then, you
That's
know,
amazing, man.
just kind of that cycle. And then
And of course the events and like
the events, yeah. I'm trying to make sure like to, you know, go where, you know, where it's needed and just stuff. What's fun? You went to a few of them.
Yeah,
They're good.
they were really fun. Like these after parties with like these actors, these events. They're actually like, I mean, I'm also like the kind of guy who like I like meeting new people. I like making new connections. That's why I made the podcast to meet these interesting people and talk to them and ask them how they got to where they're at right now. Whether they're athletes, influencers, like anyone, an artist, a musician. Whoever it is, a doctor, like that's like I see like a lot, like that's why we have a lot of things in common, and that's why I really liked LA, because of like you can always meet someone interesting every day while you're out, just like common people, common friends. And
exactly.
I wouldn't mind living in LA for a few years.
I totally forgot that you went with us, that we were all together for the Women's Billboard Award.
Yes,
we did that.
I forgot that as well. And that was crazy. SZA won that as well.
And then after that, we went to Peyton's thing, School Spirits, which is Milo was in that show.
Oh yeah,
but he wasn't at that event because he was filming in Spain.
Okay.
But yeah, he was in that show with them.
It was a movie or a TV show?
TV show.
Peyton's high school. What was it called?
School Spirits.
School Spirit. Yeah. So we were at the after party of School Spirit, and then we saw all these actors, these influencers. I was like seeing Disney Channel in front of me walking.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure like the Lebanese in you stayed in LA because like being like knowing everyone and having all these connections, it's like pretty much ingrained in all of us for some reason.
Yeah,
and like you're an example of when they say, you know, the Lebanese, like Lebanon, wherever he goes, he succeeds. He succeeds because I mean, if you can live here and like make it out from here, you can make it anywhere, in my opinion. So that's amazing what you have done throughout your career for now, till now. I mean, you're still young. How old are you? You're 23. 23. You have like your whole life in front of you.
It's so funny that we talked that it was SZA won that, because recently on the 4th of July, Benny Blanco had an event. And we were all on the roof chilling, and SZA was there, and I almost didn't recognize her, but I was like, oh, remember you won the thing, because it was crazy, because like you said, like LA is very like, you know, interconnected and stuff. The events. But that was a cool event.
That's amazing, man. And so there was a girl in your music video. Is that the person you're with right now, or or living the single life, or?
No. She's awesome, but like, and even with her, the crazy thing was like, right now definitely living the single life. But with Georgia, we like the night before she flew back from Dubai, we were texting, and I was like, we were talking about the music video and stuff, and she was down like to do it. And she's obviously Lebanese Australian. So
she's Lebanese Australian?
Yeah.
Really? What's her family name?
Hasarati.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So
I didn't know she was Lebanese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have like a, you know, when you meet someone, like when I met your sister, same thing. Like whenever
the Lebanese bond.
Yeah, the cultural connection. It's, you know, it's special. So so I did that, and then last year, you know, or late last year, I was like had like relationships going on, and relationship with a girl, and then obviously like, which is crazy because I think that once that relationship ended, it like sprouted me to like do music again, because I just felt like I wanted to like tell the story of what happened.
You were inspired again.
Yeah, and I feel like when I was like, you know, in the relationships, like we were chilling, watching movies a lot. It was like the relationship life, you know, just like chilling with the girl and like enjoying life. And so when I went to Qatar for the World Cup, you know, me and the girl pretty much ended things. And then I came back and things.
So is that her who you wish you never met in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, that I wish I'd never met her because of the fact that because I met her, you know, the emotional damage of going through is because, you know, they say, it's like I was explaining to you whenever I showed you the song, like whenever, if I'd never met her, I would have never felt the pain.
Exactly.
And I obviously wish that I'd never felt that pain because it hurts so badly. And obviously in the song I say, like, you know, like I was saying, I've been drinking way too much, and like I've been smoking way too high. Like, so we're talking about like drugs and drinking and just doing everything to get over it. But then at the end of the song, I'm like saying, like, you know, I still end up right back with you, and like talking about like how I wish
the good things as well in the relationship. Like we watched anime.
You know, we did a lot of great things, a lot of fun things, and it was like we actually watched different shows. We didn't really watch anime.
The same.
It was just anime.
It just sounded
good. Yeah. So, but we watched other shows. But you know, it's the point of like having a show that reminds you of that person, music that reminds you of that person. So yeah. So I feel like now it's more like the single life, and you never know like with relationships what happens and stuff. But I wrote so many songs after that it kind of showed me how much that relationship meant to me. After the fact, because in the midst of it, you don't know, because you don't. It's like, you know, you never know how much you care about something until it's not there anymore, and then, you know, since then, like, you know, trying to see how to figure it out. So and I wrote a bunch of songs, and obviously like you heard most of them, and so we'll see.
I'm excited for the other songs that you're gonna release. Are you releasing anything soon now?
Hopefully.
Or now you're working on First Place.
Now mainly just kind of keeping it going with First Place,
marketing,
but, all that. And then hopefully August, September I'll release another one, and then my birthday's in October, so I definitely want to release something on my birthday. I feel like that would be cool. And
that's amazing, man. Would you have like any final words to everyone watching us?
So should I look at the camera? It doesn't matter where I look.
Whatever you want.
So I would say, first of all, if only 25% of you subscribed, that's fucked up. It needs to be more than 60%, at least. And then also definitely listen to First Place, check it out. I appreciate Jad having me. This was great.
So now Nour's gonna perform First Place on the podcast. Thank you for coming, man. That's the last part of the podcast. I'm sure we're gonna do another one in the future. Maybe in LA when I'm back.
Hopefully.
And maybe when you're back here next year. And that's First Place. Really one of my favorite songs now. It's not just because it's your song, but I've been playing the song on repeat literally since it was out like a month ago.
Thank you.
And make sure you guys check it out. It's on literally all streaming services, where like Apple, Spotify, and Rami. It's everywhere. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah, well, let's give this a go. And let's see. All right. I just wish I never met you in the first place. Damn, why you had to come and kiss me in the first place. Damn, why we had to even mix it in the first place. Damn, then we went ahead and slid into third base. Hey, I wish I never ever met you in the first place.
Nour, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And see you in another episode of Unjaded.